On Christmas Eve in Tokyo, Japan, three homeless people discover a baby in a heap of trash. Rather than turn the child over to the police, they decide to find her parents themselves, stumbling from one Christmas miracle to the next as they cheat death, hobnob with the Yakuza, and reunite not just one but multiple broken families. Tokyo Godfathers is a screwball mashup of the traditional and the unconventional, a Dickensian Christmas fable set against the backdrop of contemporary Japan and sprinkled with dashes of both the Nativity Story and Paris is Burning. Gin is an alcoholic who would rather lie and say his family are dead than admit he lost all their money gambling and abandoned them. Hana is a flamboyant transgender woman with a religious streak who dreams of being a mother. And Mayuki is a short-tempered teenage runaway who stabbed her father after thinking he got rid of her cat, Angel. Altogether, they form a makeshift family unit, a merry band of outcasts who've turned away from the world at large until their miracle trash baby helps them find their way back again. Tokyo Godfathers is a loose adaptation of the John Ford film Three Godfathers, itself adapted from a 1913 novel, and all of them being a loose adaptation of the biblical story of the three wise men who visited the baby Jesus after his birth. At times, our heroes also seem to embody the Nativity Story in the form of Mary, Joseph, Jesus, and the angels. After all, these are also people for whom there's no more room at the inn. Over the course of the film, a number of increasingly outlandish coincidences seem to suggest our three miscreants are on a divinely anointed mission. The trio rescue a Yakuza boss stuck under his car, who then invites them to his daughter's wedding, where the groom just so happens to own the club where the woman, assumed to be the baby's mother, used to work. Later, the trio are asked to leave a store, which unwittingly saves them from an ambulance that plows into the building not a moment later. By the time a banner and a gust of wind allows Hana to rescue baby Kyoko and float gently to the ground like Mary Poppins, you can't help but think someone or something is looking out for these people. That said, our heroes don't get by on dumb luck alone. In every outlandish coincidence, they're presented with a choice, and every time they choose to do good. It's not everyone who would save an old man dying in the street. It's not everyone who would dive off of a roof to rescue a baby. If our heroes are under some sort of divine protection, it's not out of simple pity. It's because they continue to prove their virtue in the face of a cold, cruel world. After a screening of Tokyo Godfathers, special effects legend Ray Harryhausen allegedly said there was no reason to produce the film in animation because it didn't take advantage of the medium. He also pondered why the filmmakers had designed all the characters to be so unappealing and ugly. I bring this up not to piss on Ray Harryhausen, but because at one point during the movie the thought had crossed my mind as well. Why animation? How does the medium influence the story? Tokyo Godfathers isn't quite like Satoshi Kon's other films. It isn't like Paprika or Perfect Blue, which are constantly weaving in and out of hallucinatory fantasy worlds, and which do take full advantage of the medium to tell stories that might not otherwise have been possible. Tokyo Godfathers does have its occasional flights of fancy, but not to the same extent. Even still, Tokyo Godfathers is as inextricable from the medium in which it's told as something like Paprika. The characters wouldn't be the same if you couldn't contort their faces every which way, if you didn't have the voice actors informing who these characters are and how they move. Animation should be about more than just spectacle. Animation allows you to exaggerate drama, to have greater control, and add an additional flourish to even a grounded, realistic location like metropolitan Tokyo. I didn't even notice some of the little background details until I read about them later. There's faces in the buildings. In the scene where Gin is beaten up by punks, the lights in the windows overhead act like health bars in a video game. The fact that Tokyo Godfathers is animated allows for something more living than might have been possible with live action, elevating a relatively grounded tale of three homeless people and an abandoned baby into something more vibrant and energetic. This is kind of my problem with the recent trend of adapting animation into live action. What's the point? Movies like Snow White or The Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast, the reason why they resonated with people in the first place was that they were animated. If you take that element away, then what's the point? Was the world crying out for a live-action One Piece, for a live-action YuYu Hakusho? Sure, you could, as Ray Harryhausen seems to suggest, have told the majority of Tokyo Godfathers as a live-action film, but then it wouldn't be the same story anymore. The form is the function. The way in which the story is told is just as important as the story itself. Imagine if you gave Michelangelo a camera and said, "Here, why don't you take a picture of David instead?" With a warmth and sentimentality that would melt even old Mr. Scrooge's curmudgeonly heart, Tokyo Godfathers fits right in with other bona fide holiday classics like A Christmas Carol or How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It's a one-of-a-kind film by a master craftsman taken far too soon, but who still managed to leave a mark on the world with just the handful of works he was able to create. In conclusion, Tokyo Godfathers is a really good movie.